have you been in? But have you actually been in one of these before?
No.
You've never actually been in it.
I'm totally excited because I've never heard anything good about them, and I need to ask you a lot of questions.
Well,
it's electric. That's the first time I've ever been electrified.
Is it seriously?
Yeah.
First time you've been?
I was going to ask the question: can you stop the petrol engine working completely and only drive it electric?
Then I did. Then I mean, up to 30 miles an hour.
But what sort of miles per gallon have you tended to get out of it?
About 58 to 60.
So it's rubbish then?
Is that rubbish?
Yeah. I mean, it's rubbish.
57.8 because I thrashed it up here.
I mean, this is, of course, my pet theme on the whole thing with the environment.
That's good. Good.
That,
bring it on.
Is the craziness that everybody's speaking about the environment, and the whole electric car thing to me is a huge indication of that madness.
Right.
Where do they think all the electricity is going to come from? I mean, I personally think electric is the only answer.
Yeah.
But we've got to get some electricity.
Yes.
Or some clean electricity.
This is becoming incredibly. I mean, you're going to have so much support when people watch this. I will be flooded with messages going, at last you've driven someone sensible in your poxy Prius. There's so much hostility.
Well, maybe they'll never speak to you again. That's
I don't know. But I mean, they.
Do you need me to disclaim or anything like that?
You can say whatever you like.
But in terms of CO2 produced, that's the point. CO2 produced, you're going to get about the same or worse in an electric car.
Right.
Now,
I mean, I'm not saying right because I agree with you. I'm saying right because I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. No.
I'm making that clear to the viewers.
I mean, there's lots of figures that manufacturers.
Right.
So, cool. It's gone quiet. Turn the engine on.
No.
See, this is why I think electric's great. I mean, this is the first time, but this is super. Yeah. We should all be driving electric.
And when you stop, you're not using anything. No, I'm glad you appreciate that side of it.
Well, I do. I do appreciate that side of it. But the thing is, I mean, I think the only answer to all of our, the environmental problems we have is we've got to go electric.
Yeah.
The whole thing we have to make electric. Trains, buses. It's quite easy. I mean, in San Francisco, all the buses drive along with a little
electric
thing. The infrastructure to put that in is nothing.
No. And also, it's not new technology. It's very old technology.
Old technology. We don't need rail tracks. We've got them. They're called a road.
Yeah.
Look, it's everywhere. I've got a rail track to my front door and your front door. So in real life conditions, most electric cars will give you, at best, the same CO2. And the reason is that the electricity that we produce in the power stations is so CO2 dirty.
Right. Because it's coal-powered or...
Coal. It tends to be like 500 grams of carbon dioxide per kilowatt hour.
Right.
And so by the time you plug your electric car in, you're responsible for every kilowatt hour that you use up. You're responsible for 500 or even 600, people say, grams.
Right.
Whereas if you look at a really rational diesel, they're down to sort of 100 grams per kilometre.
Yeah.
If you do the sums, which is a very simple sum, you'll find out at very best the two will be equal. So you've achieved nothing.
But here's the interesting thing that I haven't had explained to me yet is 200 miles in a Volkswagen Blue Motion diesel, super fuel efficient vehicle, very pushed forward as a green vehicle, which I always find rather annoying anyway, the whole notion of anything being green, and at very low CO2. It does have particulates because it's diesel, but we'll leave that to one side. It costs, I think, £14 to drive 200 miles. Very, very cheap for diesel. £200 in a high-performance electric sports car, £3.50. Now, just on purely economic levels, why is it only £3.50 to generate enough energy from a huge coal-fired power station that it only costs £3.50 to fill the equivalent tank on that electric vehicle?
It's taxed.
Is that entirely taxed? So if there was no tax on fuel, it would cost £3.50 to drive that distance.
If they started taxing the electricity that you put in your electric car,
which they will do without that,
then it would end up costing the same.
Right.
I mean, that's why electric car makes great sense. They're so cheap to run.
Yeah.
They're so silent, as we just discovered here for the first time. So, and the other thing, of course, is you're talking about all these cars on the M40 or in the London traffic. You've got localised pollution. So there's still advantages, but there's one other issue we got here. First of all, we've got to tell the truth about this, and the truth is it will not alter carbon dioxide emissions at all.
Right.
If we switch everything tomorrow to
if we're generating our power using fossil fuels and coal,
we'd be stuffed because we've got no electricity.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do then? So we're going to convert all these cars to electric and then build some more coal-fired power stations.
Yeah.
The whole thing's bombing. Who's running this show here?
Yeah. Well, nobody's running it. It's absolute chaos. Because you've had hands-on experience, quite literally, with things like wind turbines. So loads of people easily, and I'm sure I'm one of them, say, what we need to do is have a load of wind turbines and that will generate enough electricity. Is it impossible to do that?
Not, I mean, I would say it'd be completely stupid. But,
yes, I should have said it might be stupid.
The power consumption of Great Britain, the total consumption is 3 trillion kilowatts, kilowatt hours. That's 3 with 12 noughts.
Right. Sounds like quite a lot.
It's a lot. Now, if I tell you that a wind turbine, an average size wind turbine, produces per year, now this is the clue, produces per year about 3.5 million kilowatt hours.
Right.
Divide one into the other and you get an answer of nearly 1 million. So you need 1 million wind turbines to produce all the energy that we have in Britain.
How much is one of those big, like the big wind turbine that's on the M4 going into London near Reading?
That's I think a 1.8. They're about 1 million installed, about £1 million per
unit.
Well, that's 2 million quid because it's 2 megawatt.
Right.
So it's about 2 million quid. They're too expensive as well. But you just can't. But the thing is, if you can't get the whole solution with it, so what do you put? Let's say you did a mix. They keep talking about this mix. Well, let's just talk about the Clyde wind farm. The government have decided to build the Clyde wind farm, biggest wind farm in Europe, I think it is, and it's still not that many. It's like 250 or something wind turbines. But what percentage do you think of our total consumption in Britain will that produce?
It's going to be small.
10%?
No.
5? Well, the answer is
2.
The answer is 1/20th of 1%.
Oh God!
1/20th.
I was going down really low to try and be clever.
So, whoopee! We built the Clyde wind farm. And we've got 1/20th. We're 1/20th of 1% on our way to succeeding what we're trying to do. A lot of people object to wind turbines the way they look. I actually think they look.
I think they're lovely.
They look like
they don't offend me.
Modern art.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that half these ones are not. Half the wind turbines offshore are not working properly because they haven't really understood the difficulties of doing things. I mean, I spent.
Because you actually did install them, then you actually worked on.
Well, I didn't as a diver, but but my company that I started, we started getting involved in one part of the installation. But I understand the technology of installing things offshore because that's what we did with the oil business, and it's very, very difficult stuff.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you put an oil installation, it pumps millions of dollars worth of oil. It's worth building it.
Yes.
But the wind turbine relatively gives you very little money back. But it's a difficult environment to go and pop one of those things out there.
Yeah.
There's no future for them. They're just a waste of time.
Okay.
So we. It's the scale of it that nobody's really telling the truth about. The only thing that can produce this much energy is nuclear power.
Right.
I mean, even with nuclear power, do you know how many nuclear power stations it would take
to run? I got quite depressed.
It's like 200 nuclear power stations.
Right.
It's not building 10 or 11.
Yeah.
That's not going to work either.
Because how many have we got now? I can't remember.
We got about 10 or 11, I think.
Right.
Because we're talking about rebuilding them.
Yeah.
So. We need but there is a funny quirk which is a bit difficult because if you do have electricity, you can start now using ground source heat pumps in electric cars.
Right.
So although they said at the moment they produce the same carbon dioxide as a petrol, but if you produce them from clean electricity, they will reduce the amount of energy we use because they're more efficient.
Right. Yes.
You go further every bit of it.
Yeah.
So by using electric transport and by using things like ground source heat pumps. Run from electricity. If it's clean electricity, will reduce our overall amount of electricity. You need 3 trillion kilowatts, but the only way that would reduce that if it was all electric, if we electrified houses and cars and everything. I mean, airplanes would be a little bit difficult, but you would actually reduce quite considerably your power. So you would actually get away with probably more like 150 nuclear power stations.
Right.
So that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, which is colossal investment. I mean,
well, it isn't. It's 150 billion. They're about $1 billion. Now, there's some argument, and anyone watching this from Greenpeace will be up in arms and all this, because they'll look in the way that we have built them in the past. So I did actually think the limitation, if you wanted to build 150, was where would we come by 150 billion. Since the financial crisis, it seems like 150 billion is nothing. There are some issues. I mean, there is, there's a certain amount of nuclear waste you get from them. It's not much.
Right.
If you and I were to spend a whole lifetime and our car and everything we consumed in 100 years of life was from nuclear, I know that's not possible, but if it was, you and I would be responsible for a golf ball each in size of nuclear waste.
Right.
It's not that much.
Yeah.
But the point is, we all talk about that, but nuclear power stations are old-fashioned technology. They were built in the 50s.
Yeah.
You were talking about the generators. Whether it's a nuclear or a coal, you've got the generator part of it. That stays the same.
Yeah.
I'd build a normal reactor, and I'd leave an empty space where you could put in a fusion reactor when we crack it.
Yeah.
The other thing I would do is I'd make a particle university.
I like that idea. Yeah.
And I would offer students 50 grand a year to go there, not to charge them.
Right.
Let anyone anywhere in the world go there and get all the whizzes, make them celebrities.
Right.
They
Yeah.
invent things.
Yes.
Pay them fortunes for it.
Yeah.
And build an incredible campus with every facility you can ever
Yeah.
imagine to inspire and to let them grow. And we would have a product. If we built that in this country, we'd have an exportable product,
Yeah.
which would be tremendous value. What a precarious position we're
Oh,
sitting
it's
in.
terrible.
We could be in this island here, completely and utterly self-contained.
I mean,
and we could-
even the fuel for nuclear power stations, presumably that we haven't done any of that.
Well, no, that's true. But we
Yeah.
have actually got quite a lot because
Right.
we reprocess,
Right.
which is a bit more technical.
So we've certainly got, but I mean, we don't need
we got
huge shiploads of it.
bucket
We need,
loads. You don't need
yeah.
much of the stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, I still think if we moved on with the technology, if you go left,
Okay.
here there's a little cube, right? If we carried on with the particle university, I don't think it'd be long before those blank spaces I said
Would be-
if you're putting something in
something-
where, you know, when
yeah.
you put a gin and tonic in and...
Yeah.
and
You've got
and-
400 years of free electricity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, France has done it. Well, they built 87.
Yes.
You know, nobody ever talks about France.
No, and most of them along the north coast of France, which is quite near England.
It's 22 by Calais, for goodness sakes. Or 21, is it? You know, so I mean,
Yeah.
we kind of had it anyway.
Yes.
And you don't go to France and see all the French being radiated. If we carry on the way we're going, it's absolutely clear. I mean, I go to the North Pole most years, and you know, you see it how devastating, you know, the environmental change is up there.
Right. So you're very aware then that there isn't necessarily that Al Gore isn't necessarily a stool pigeon of, you know, that there is an issue. You think that you've seen changes in your
Well, I
lifetime.
mean, who knows? It might be something that would have changed anyway.
Yeah.
But I
But
don't
there is-
bank on that either.
but
You know,
there
it's
are
like-
changes.
It's like saying hang my child off a cliff and hope that it's something natural and they won't die. I wouldn't
Yeah.
want to take the risk.
Yeah.
You know, so it's pretty obvious it's pouring out all this stuff is going to do something.
gotta do
you know,
something, isn't it?
you know, whatever. But certainly, I mean, the amount of ice melt. But the other scary thing is if the Arctic Ocean, the ice of the North Pole melts completely, it'll almost double the amount of heat we're putting into the planet.
Yes.
So it's or double compared to what the carbon dioxide is doing. Nobody's modelled that in yet.
Right. Right. That is
I mean,
ugly. No, I read about that just a few days ago, and I went, oh, that does sound the most frightening.
But let's say we're
aspect of
having
it.
a discussion here and forget global warming.
Yeah.
To me, if you were talking economic
Economically,
sense,
that's my argument.
you know,
It's purely economics. It
it's-
doesn't do with it.
let's just build some nuclear power stations because it's such an investment. It's like finding gold. So at the moment we're in a very, very, very vulnerable position whereby the whole world will sort of collapse together.
Yeah.
James Lovelock's latest book that just came out a few weeks ago, he thinks 90% of the population will be dead by 2050. Yes, that's a
terribly jolly
serious-
thought, is it? No.
I mean,
No.
he's been right about everything else he said.
Has he?
You know, it's getting a bit gloomy.
Yeah. And now,
Should we talk
a
about
message from our sponsor. There's a wind turbine outside there.
You're kidding me. Let's go and rip it down, shall we?
Just go to the, excuse me, sir. That thing don't work. You've been duped.
Well, there was an interesting. There was
Round towards that way.
Yeah, that's it. Round that one, then it's
Very pretty these villages.
It's, yeah, this is that up there by the little red pillar box. Yeah.
Oh, I've got a letter to post, but I'll do it later. The big argument that I'm having now with in the motoring fraternity, you know, one is the one that I get hammered on one side by the diesel lobby, who go, you know, who hate this car because Clarkson does. Which is really the main reason I keep it.
I mean, obviously the thing is, but he's got the cool board, hasn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
And
was that I traded in what he classified as the coolest hot hatchback. So I had an R32 Golf, and I traded in an R32 Golf for a Prius. So it's like being a Catholic and then saying, oh, actually, I'm Jewish, you know, to the Pope.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like you can't get all.
But the thing is, if you're driving in a queue of traffic, or if you're driving in town, you have a people carrier or a Prius in front of you. You know, you're not going to go anywhere.
You know, you're not going to be burning off at the lights.
No, it was, you know, I mean, that's the sort of people that buy them. So I'm really with Clarkson on that as well. Now, the Tesla, of course, is an...
Oh, I know where we are. Oh, isn't that funny when you join bits of the world up? I love doing that.
It's great, isn't it? That happens to be in London.
Oh, no, then you don't pull out right in front of this very fast car coming down.
It'd be good if we filmed the whole accident,
Yeah.
wouldn't it?
No, please don't. Let's not go there. It has been suggested.
Oh, has it?
Oh, yeah. Plenty of times, yeah.
Everyone's dabbling around the edges.
Yeah.
Nobody's actually looking at the whole global picture
Yes.
with this thing. And of course, recycling and all the rest of the stuff. None of it makes any difference.
Right.
And there's this, and of course, everyone's picking on everybody else now.
Yeah, which is terrible.
Everyone's got to contribute. You know, you're not doing this, and I'm not doing that. Look at the car. The truth is, it's a diversion from telling the truth.
Right.
The truth is, none of those things will make any difference.
Right.
They're all too small.
Right.
You've got to look at the scale of this whole thing.
Yeah.
My argument is like a swimming pool. If your child fell in the swimming pool and its foot got stuck in the grill at the bottom, and I was quick and I threw a scuba tank in there.
Yeah.
But there's half an hour there. We've got to get the water out in half an hour. That's where every little bit only helps if it gets them out in half an hour.
Yeah.
Same as global warming. If we make it in time, every bit helps. But if somebody turns up with a teaspoon and says, well, every bit helps, it won't help.
No.
It's a kind gesture, but it isn't going to do anything.
Yeah.
So,
but then what about a million? Because a million people couldn't get around the swimming pool.
Well, there isn't a million. You see, so you've got to be practical. What practically would, take a very practical solution like that. But if I turned up and I said, well, I've got a diesel pump, but it'll only do it in an hour. Yeah. Well, that's contributing. Yeah. Because if you can get another guy like me, you've succeeded. Yes. Yeah. So it's the scale of the whole thing that you've got to look at.
And the scale is so colossal, isn't it?
So colossal.
On an individual level, it's very hard to understand.
Yeah, and that's the point. But you only have to get a calculator out. Yeah. Although you need a calculator that takes 12 noughts. Right. And you just divide one into the other, and you get the answer every time. Yeah. Yeah. So when somebody says they've got an idea, what does it save? It's a simple question. And, I mean, there was a BBC Two programme where they had the Green Man, and he went one whole year. Yes, and, I remember. And at the end of that programme, the consultant came in and cut the cake and showed how much he saved. Well, the answer was 20%. Yeah. No, he went to extreme. He did real extreme. Everything, the whole lot, 20%. And that's if you go onto my website, CarpoolUK.com, I've got a calculator on the site, and it shows you how you can put this in yourself. Right. And that is about as far as you'll ever get, 20%. Yeah. The only way, if every single person got behind every last little dabbling little bits and pieces, and we all did the whole lot and nanny-panny the whole lot, we would reduce carbon emissions by 20%. Right. Then which is, I mean, substantial. Arguable, it's better than not doing it, but on the other hand, it's not enough. But some of those things would bankrupt the country. Yes. Whereas we could just get straight on with the job and do the job properly instead of dabbling. Yes, now I understand. If we, what you're saying is if we actually generated our power without releasing carbon into the atmosphere, all our power, then the drop would be 90%. Yeah. Colossal. We still can't do airplanes. I mean, we can reduce flying a little bit, but that's it. Everyone's getting. And we've got to have motor racing with V8s. The thing is, if we've got to 90% with all the rest of it, we can have those at luxuries. Not a problem. Yeah. So that's why everyone's always got to be, we're going to have to suffer. That's the British thing. We've got to suffer. We don't have to suffer. But of course, none of this is going to happen. And that's the thing that I've become most interesting is who's in charge. Yes. How do you actually make a change with anything? Yeah. I'm not the only one that knows this stuff. James Lovelock knows everything that I've said here. James Lovelock knows. Right. And there's probably thousands of people that know that and a lot more than I know. Yeah. But nothing ever changes. Yes. And why? Why is that? I mean, James Lovelock in his latest book says nobody's ever going to do any of this stuff. Right. We should just be preparing for the disaster. Right. It's a very depressing thought, isn't it? But how do we make a change? How small can you build a nuclear power station? I want my own. Look at them, they have them in subs. Of course they do! I've seen one and I wasn't allowed to see it. And they're pretty small little ones. We actually looked at one on our North Pole expeditions. We seriously looked at a little nuclear reactor, but it was all a bit of a stupid idea. Yeah. But I have no doubt whatsoever that if we got the particle university going, that we would end up with little. Everything might change. We might end up with little fuel cells that big that'll run this car forever. Yeah. And maybe we can still all tear around like petrol heads. Yeah.
I've only just reached that kind of confessional stage where I can sort of talk about this. And I don't know if this ever affected you when you did your 90 miles or something, but my 270 miles, I suffered for 11 days after it with numb penis syndrome.
That was the most common question on Twitter.
Really?
Really?
Yeah. Oh God.
Can you ask him about numb penis? Oh, I totally know what you mean.